Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to echo your remarks about Secretary Panetta and the work that he's done. I don't see him here today, but I do recall when he was first nominated, I was probably one of the first phone calls to him, and I've enjoyed working with him. With Senator McCain, the same way. I certainly continue to depend on his counsel, and you and I have worked very well together in the past. Mr. Chairman, before I continue the opening statement, I'd like to raise a concern about the sufficiency of materials provided to this committee by our nominee. Senator Hagel was requested to provide the speeches he's delivered over the last 5 years, yet his initial submission was for only 4 speeches, even though, as was noticed by Senator Cruz, that he had honoraria for 12 speeches, but submitted 4 speeches. Well, we received some more, but only late last night. And so I think it would have been a lot more helpful if we had received them before that. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to get that information before we have to cast votes on this nominee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The President's nomination of Senator Hagel to serve as the next Secretary of Defense comes at a critical junction in our military and national security interests. Senator Hagel is a good man who has a record of service. I first learned of that when he was first elected, and I have been a great admirer of the time that he spent in Vietnam, the sacrifices that he made. And while his service is commendable, the fate of his nomination should be decided by the totality of his record. It is the votes that he's cast and the statements that he's made over the many years of his career that will inform us as to his judgment, his view of America's role in the world, and his view of the military required to support that role. As I told Senator Hagel in my office some time ago, over 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, that after a long and careful review of his record and the things that he has said and the things that I have personally experienced with him, that we're too philosophically opposed on the pressing issues facing our country, and for me to support his nomination, and therefore I told him I would not be supporting his nomination. His record demonstrates what I view as a lack of steadfast opposition to policies that diminish U.S. power and influence throughout the world, as well as a recent trend of policy reversals that seem based on political expediency rather than on core beliefs. On many of the security challenges facing the U.S. interests around the world, Senator Hagel's record is deeply troubling and out of the mainstream. Too often, it seems, he's willing to subscribe to a worldwide view that is predicated on appeasing our adversaries while shunning our friends. I remember quoting Hiram Mann, who said, "No man survives when freedom fails. The best men rot in filthy jails, and those who cried, 'Appease, appease,' are hanged by those they tried to please." In 2000, and I'll mention a few of these things because they're going to come out in this hearing. In 2000, an overwhelming majority of senators sent a letter to President Clinton reaffirming our solidarity with Israel. I was one of them who carried that letter around. I remember it well. And Senator Hagel was one of just 4 who refused to sign that letter, and I'm sure he'll want to comment about that. In 2001, he was one of just 2 senators who voted against a bill extending harsh sanctions against Iran. A year later, he urged the Bush administration to support Iran's membership in the World Trade Organization. Senator Hagel voted against a resolution designating Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, a group responsible for killing American soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan, as a terrorist organization. And on multiple occasions, he has advocated for direct negotiations with Iran, a regime that continues to repress its people, doggedly pursue a nuclear weapon capability, and employ terrorist proxies, including Hamas, Hezbollah, to threaten the security of Israel and the region. Senator Hagel has also been an outspoken supporter of the nuclear disarmament and the global zero movement. We're very sensitive to that. We know that the President has said many times he wants a nuclear-free world, and I know that Senator Hagel is right there with him. But at a time when North Korea's belligerent actions threaten our allies with their nuclear capabilities and security of our own nation and that of our allies, why would we want to unilaterally disarm ourselves of nuclear capability? Of late, however, Senator Hagel has expressed views in meetings with Senate colleagues, I've been informed, and through the press that appear glaringly at odds with many of his long-held positions, particularly on issues dealing with Israel, Iran, and our nuclear arsenal. This apparent willingness to walk back or alter his position, possibly for the sake of political expediency on such important issues, is deeply troubling and sends a concerning message to our allies and our adversaries alike. Though I respect Senator Hagel, his record to date demonstrates that he would be a staunch advocate for the continuation of the misguided policies of the President's first term, retreating from America's unique global leadership role in shrinking the military will not make America safer. On the contrary, it will embolden our enemies, endanger our allies, and provide opportunity for nations that do not share our interest to fill a global leadership vacuum we leave behind. It is for these reasons that I believe that he's the wrong person to lead the Pentagon at this perilous and consequential time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.